Hey guys, my name is Steve Procopi. I'm one of the programmers with the festival. Thank you all for sticking around. I'm guessing you liked it. You're all still here. I didn't see anybody walk out. Let's welcome back our filmmaker, James Morosini.
Thank you all so much. I'd love to bring up my cast. Let's start off with Patton Oswalt. Claudia Sulewski. Landecker.
You're going to have to share. I apologize. Share microphones. I apologize. Okay. So, you look like you see him. You saw him before, and then you see him now, and he's like a different guy, right? Like it just isn't. I gotta guess. I had a couple other questions I was going to ask, but the first thing I really wanted was, why isn't your dad here to explain / defend himself? Why is he not doing all the interviews with you guys? Like, what are you guys? Do you laugh about this now? Like, what is the relationship like now?
He's in hiding. No. He came to South by, and it was actually, it was amazing having him watch the movie with us, and I guess amazing is one way to describe it. I mean, it was, but yeah, I mean, we're
doing heroin is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, he digs the movie, and I don't know, it was a very healing process making this film and being able to share it together.
Yeah. I guess
it's fucking weird. I mean, it's so weird.
I don't think it gets any less weird over time either.
Yeah.
So, honestly, why did you decide that this moment in your life needed to be written down and needed to be made into a film that you started? Like, I can get the writing and directing part, but like, why did you want to write it, and why did you want to go through it again, basically?
Yeah, it's a cool question. I think I love just what the story represents, which is just like forgiving the people in our lives that we have complicated relationships with, and like trying to find a way to forgive our parents. And I don't know exactly why I did it at this point in my life, but in terms of deciding to play the lead, that was a decision Pat and I made together, and it just felt right, and it felt like I wanted to have as much skin in the game as possible, because I was asking all of you to have your skin in the game as you watched it. Yeah.
I don't see a situation where you have more skin in the game than this. Pat, and it just so happens the other two movies of yours that you've been here for have tapped into some of your more dramatic parts, and this being the third now. You don't do those as often, but still, like I think you excel at it actually. And I'm wondering, when you first read this, what spoke to you? What was the thing that hooked you, I guess?
I don't go looking for a constant, dark, tense script. The script itself has to be really good. So I had the same feeling of this when I read Big Fan and Young Adult, which partially was that the characters are so well realized, but then there's the film buff in me that reads the script and says, how is he going to pull this off? How is he going to make this work? I would rather shoot for something and have it fail than to just constantly hedge your bets and be in the middle of the road. And this movie, it is all the chips shoved onto the table for every scene emotionally, and he pulled it off. So like seeing that risk, seeing that he laid that risk down on paper just to begin with, it just made me want to do it that much more. That always excites me. So.
You're right. The film almost feels like a dare. Like you wrote it, and then someone just dared you to make it.
Yeah.
It's got that vibe to it.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way, like I was daring myself as I went about writing it, and then I feel like I was kind of.
You were daring all of us, that's for sure.
It was like, how weird can we get while not going over a certain line? Like, going over the line, but like, I don't know, like staying emotionally engaged with it and not doing it just for sheer shock value, But yeah, I kept asking myself, like, how much further can it go?
Just looking in the window in the last few minutes, I think we answered that question. Claudia, let me ask you this, because I think you have maybe the most difficult part, because you're not only playing this waitress who has no idea what else is going on with these two, but then you're also playing two versions of this fantasy character, one that's basically just Chuck trying to be a young woman, and then his fantasy version of you, which are similar but not exactly the same. I'm wondering, can you sort of talk about finding those dividing lines?
Yeah, I think every scene called for something a little bit different, so it was fun to pick and choose what moments I really wanted it to reflect. What is Franklin imagining, or how are you imagining me saying these words, versus when there's such a clear motive that it's Chuck coming through, whether it's like, oh my god, let's play chess, or it's not that bad, like that. There's a bit of gaslighting in there, and it was fun finding those moments. Just a little bit.
Touch of gaslighting.
So I particularly love the moments when you just go silent, but the camera stays on you, like you're waiting for Chuck to text the next thing. I love that you put that in there. It's like a weird pregnant pause, sort of. That you're just like, oh god, what's that? And your character notices these pauses and thinks something is wrong, and I think it's a really nice way to build small amounts of tension throughout those exchanges.
Yeah, I feel like we're all so accustomed to just like the timing of when we send a text, and then the anticipation that builds. Is the person going to get back to me? They could get back right away, and then you kind of are relieved. It could go on for days. You're kind of sending out this message, and I wanted to capture that feeling of nervous anticipation and how that makes everyone feel.
Amy, I think in maybe other hands, both acting and directing and writing, that your character could have been sort of just a cliche ex-wife, unpleasant, but compared to Chuck, there's nothing your character could really do that would be worse than what he's doing. Did that give you a certain amount of freedom to just cut loose a little bit?
Yeah, I think, well, first I just want to acknowledge, I just saw the movie for the first time. Next to my dad.
I was next to mine.
Yeah, we were next to our dads. My dad is John Records Landecker, who some of you may know. Anyway, shout out to Dad. But I found it
I'm sorry, I hired a dad for the night, so so Cody, thank you so much, and the agency says I'll have you for another hour, and I'll OD you back, all right?
I spent the evening calling Patton Dad in the back.
Yes, so it's perfect.
It doesn't count, guys. We watched the movie. It doesn't count.
Oh.
No, I'm oddly emotional after it. I'm kind of on the verge of tears, in a good way. I just thought it was incredible. I was shocked. I was laughing. I was crying. These three are extraordinary, and I felt like my only job really there was to kind of be like his mom, which is just sort of a grounding force for everybody else. I didn't really feel like, maybe we did a one let loose where you just let me rant and scream, and I did sort of I left set that day and called my husband and was like, that was a great day at work. Because I was jealous, to be honest with you. They all have so much fun shit to do. And I would be in the car, and I was always in the background of their scenes. That was half my job, was just facilitating Becca and him having their time together. And I would tell James, I want to play. So he did let me play a little bit. And I just can't believe that this young kid who looks like a model wrote, directed, and starred in this movie. did you look at him? I don't know.
You have to, at certain points, either in the writing or the directing or whatever, you have to realize at some point there's going to be people who see this that are not going to be cool with what goes down in this movie. But if you really dig into it, well, I guess like what are some of the justifications? Because you're right, Chuck is a guy that has the best of intentions and carries them all out in the wrong way. And there is something to be said for that. Like there is something to be said for having your heart in the right place. Can you talk a little bit about, hopefully that's getting through to people, but I'm just wondering, can you talk a little bit about writing and playing someone who people just might not dig?
Right. Well, I guess there are two questions in there. Maybe I'll talk about the writing, and then Pat, you can talk about it. I mean, in my experience, I like movies that not everybody likes, and like for us to be able to like share a movie like this with all of you, and like for what sounds like a lot of you to dig it, that it just is like, I don't know, it just makes it more special in a way, and like I'm okay with some people not getting it and just thinking it was just only seeing the cringe of it and that being like, you know, making them not like it or whatever. But in terms of writing a character that is doing the wrong thing for the right reasons, I think that's a situation we often find ourselves in. And when we're doing something like that, we're justifying why we're doing it as we're doing it. And so I really wanted to show the kind of the process of doing that. And I don't know, the question of like, what would you do to save your son's life? Would you catfish him? You know? That's a fun question.
Fun question. Look, I really love the fact that you lean so hard into it. It's such a human thing to go, I'm going to quote a line from Squeeze, but I want to be good. Is that not enough? Don't I get credit for the intentions, even though there's no attempt at an actual execution or follow through? I wanted to get him a dog. We stole one, but look, can we go back to when I wanted to get him one? Wasn't that nice? So I think we've all not only encountered that person in our lives, we've also been that person. That's kind of hard to admit. So it's been very interesting. The few bad reviews this movie has gotten have been the kind of bad reviews that as a filmmaker you almost want to get, because it means you still affected the person that watched it. They had such a visceral experience that it was almost like the few bad reviews I've read they're written as if my character owes the reviewer money or something, and they're pissed off at him. And you know, so that kind of it's risky to make that kind of thing. I remember before we started shooting, the two movies you told me to watch were the Butthole Cut of Cats and the Bergman's Autumn Sonata, and then Frownland. Has anyone here seen Frownland? Okay, don't, because
I remember you were like, I didn't like that.
I wanted to kill that guy. This is the guy. Frownland is made by the guy, the Safdie brothers, writer and editor Ronald Bronstein. This was the thing that they didn't want to do. So think of imagine the Safdie brothers looking at a script going, that's way too weird. And then he's like, well, I'm going to shoot it anyway. It took him like 6 years to make it.
They gave the main actor, a ton of coffee, and then they had him memorize like 3 pages for every 1 page of dialogue. They'd have him run around the block and then do the scene. And the reason I wanted to share that with Pat is I wanted that same level of like frantic urgency, and then at the same time trying to make everything like up.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is a young actor. I'm in my 50s. Like, you don't show Alec Guinness Taxi Driver and then so that's what I need from you. It's like, well, I'm gonna die. Like, you need to get somebody young because I can't do this. So yeah, it was. But again, the fact that was the spectrum of influences that I was working under, again, made me go, I have to do this. How is he going to pull this off? Oh, none of you have seen Frownland, have you? Oh my God. You know what? Let's roll it. We brought it. Let's all watch it. Seriously, Frownland, I'm not recommending it. But a lot of you little indie thrill seekers out there might want to go kiss the other end of the cringe spectrum and enjoy a little Frownland.
I can almost guarantee our projectionist is looking it up right now.
Yeah,
Seeing where
exactly.
she can order a 35 print of it.
Oswalt Issues Challenge at Music Box Theater. That'll be all over the internet tomorrow.
For our actors, James is a relatively new filmmaker, and I'm wondering two things. One, what was it about his vision before you started shooting that you appreciated and fell for, I guess, and then while he was shooting, just what was different about him as a filmmaker and a director of actors?
I saw it. Is this on?
I don't think yours
off. Do I have to turn it on? Hello?
Hello, there it is. I saw his shorts. What were the names? What was the one about the alien?
I saw his shorts. Oh, you mean his film? All right, I'm sorry.
First of all, how
Sorry.
about there we have like one of the greatest stand-up comedians in the world in the cast? Like,
Yeah, that's really helpful in a tense, dark comedy like this. Me making cracks. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
no, and then you have to pay him like $20 extra for the jokes at the end of the night. No, but like he gives like an anyway. Oscar, whatever. I thought incredible performance, and he's that funny. But no, James has a very clear artistic vision in his shorts that you see in this, which he will push it to the absolute limit of cringe. And to work with an artist that you know is really clear on what they want, he's consistent. It's not for everyone. It's like caviar, you know? It's like some people can't handle it, but I was obsessed. So that's why I knew, even though I thought the mom was like not as thrilling as Rachel Dratch's character, I was happy to work with James.
Well, Patton, you like this vision so much. This is your first full producer credit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think it was me and some other factors that helped it get made. I don't want to say that this movie wouldn't exist without me. It was me and a lot of people that just saw how insanely brilliant this script was, and how it so went for broke. So again, it was not that I'm on the same level as him. This is my version of George Harrison putting up the money for Life of Brian. Just because he just said, I just want to see if you guys make it. I don't think you guys are going to be able to do this. Here's some money. I won't miss it. I got it out of my couch. I'm a Beatle, for God's sake. So I took some of my Ratatouille bucks and I put it right into, I take my Ratatouille bucks, I funnel it into the indie scene. That's what I do. I go, listen, Disney, Pixar, I'm going to take this dirty Hollywood money and put it into some indie piece of art.
Well, circling back a few pages ago, the thing that I actually want to talk about your editing, because I think for a lot of us, we were all kind of filming a different movie. Like, the scenes I had with James and the scenes you were having, and then watching them intertwine, I think it just, like, that was just so kind of like, that's what it is when I got to see the first cut of it, because when you're doing it and you're filming it, you're just seeing your version. And so I was filming a rom-com. I was filming a straight up romantic, cute film, and you were filming an intense
Frownland.
drama. Yeah. And seeing it come together just so like organically and seamlessly, that was so impressive, because it's we're always dancing on the line of like taking it a little bit too far, but
Yeah, wait, I just have to say one thing. The masturbation scene, then everyone's laughing, right? We're all like, ah! And then he's upset, right? He knocks on the door. There was like a pin drop in here. That's incredible filmmaking, when you can get people laughing and mad freaked out, and then you're devastated in a second. And I was like, well, that's how you know this kid is kind of a genius. I'm sorry to say that, but that's my
I think the last question I'm going to ask is in a film filled with uncomfortable, sometimes unpleasant moments, what was the most uncomfortable and unpleasant to film and to work, act? I mean, I can probably guess. But...
Take it away.
I mean, well, that the one you're thinking of wasn't like that one was like just fun and crazy. But in terms of like what was actually, I mean, shooting the diner was really challenging, honestly, because I was having to go to a place of devastation, but then also like manage a lot of different moving pieces and making sure we covered everything right. And I mean, that was uncomfortable physically because I felt like I was maybe doing too much. That was like one of the times where I was like, maybe I should have acted in this. Maybe I should have hired someone. But in terms of the like cringe of it, I don't know. I don't know if I ever really felt particularly like I was cringing just because I've lived with the material for so long. But I don't know. What about you guys?
I mean, you know, the making out with James wasn't that cringy for me to do. It just wasn't. A, it's how I got the part, and B, the most physically uncomfortable scene was being nude at the office party. That felt really weird.
Great. That's great.
My torso looks like Walter Matthau's face. And then, but the one, you know the part that really wiped me out, I don't think we talked about this, was in the laser tag scene when I come out and I had a for real nervous breakdown because to get ready for that scene, because that's what it really is piling up on me, like I can't turn away from what I've done, and so, I don't want to get all weepy here, but I was thinking like, because I'm, you know, what I pictured was, to get there was, what if I had been that shitty to my own daughter? And remembering, that's why the scenes, when they suddenly cut to James as a little kid, are so heart-wrenching to me. He's just this sweet little kid. And some sweet little kids don't get to pick whose hands they fall into in life, and that's hard to watch. And so I was imagining that, and so I really got deep in that scenario of what if I was neglectful or didn't care about her. And I mean, I really had a long breakdown there. And then when we were done shooting, I had to go in the other room and I'd FaceTime my wife and just bawl for like, I think 20 minutes just to have her bring me back to reality. It was really rough. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done on film. That was hard.
I lied. I have one more question for you. Did any part of this in real life, did any part of what your dad do actually help?
I mean, I got to make this movie. You know? that definitely helps.
Thanks for the trauma, Dad. See you at Telluride.
I don't know specifically anything. I don't know. That's hard. Yeah, I got to make it like 20 years, 10 years later or whatever. Then yeah.
So the film, I think this is right. The film is coming out August 5th, which means you have the whole summer to tell everyone how much you enjoyed it. Please use every means at your disposal to talk about this movie. Everyone, thank you so much for bringing this film here and coming back to Chicago. Thank you all for sticking around. If any of you have a badge, there's a gathering in the lounge afterwards if you have a badge, so please join us for drinks there. Thank you. Thank you.